I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey meant for but few. Take my hand and we'll ramble with Reverend Campbell and 9sense's devilish crew.
Welcome to 9sense. 9sense is a satanic perspective of our modern world, and I'm your host, Adam Campbell. Today I'm being joined by Aden Arden of Militant Eroticism. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Just getting over a cough. Comes like that Paris Hilton episode. Coughing up cum. So.
All right. Good stuff. Well, it is great to have you listeners for tuning in. Thank you so much. It is January 25th, and we have a wonderful show for you. In the Devil's Advocate, I saw some stuff in online networking, and I think the majority of people in social networks that I clue into online don't actually listen to the podcast, which I think some of them do, but not a lot of them, which is interesting. But this topic, I think, is a very interesting topic. So, in the Devil's Advocate, we're going to be talking about what is Satanic. And Agent Provocateur, that's right. Last week, Darren dropped an episode on me, but I had recorded the entire show earlier that day, so I'm dropping it in here. We're going to do episode 20 before the hiatus at the Crossroads of Civilizations, and we're going to close it out with a Militant Eroticism. Of course, it ends in the house. This is episode 20. What are we calling this one, man?
The most generous person in the world.
Obviously, you're talking about me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I should hear the segment before I start saying it.
Oh no, you are certainly the most generous person in the world.
No, I feel like there's an inside joke that I don't even fucking know about. God damn it! I'm gonna fast forward the show just so I can hear that and then come back and comment on it. All right, so before we start, are you an avid enthusiast of exercising, Aden?
I try. I have an elliptical, I have weights, but I haven't worked out in a month. I'm getting beer gut again. It sucks.
Yeah, it's tough just to keep going unless you have someone else to sit there and motivate you. I've run into a situation that I can't be the only person that does this, but I'm a total fucking asshole for doing it. And I see it's one of those behavioral things you do as an individual, at least that I do, where I see myself doing it and I tell myself, you have to stop doing this because you're being a bitch. So let me shine some light on this here. I turn into a total fucking asshole when I'm working out. Complete, hands down, total piece of shit asshole. And it makes it worse because I only exercise with my wife. And so that means that I'm a total piece of shit asshole to my wife when I work out. And I don't mean to be mean, but I'm super critical, and when you're performing an exercise, I'm crazy about form and completion of each motion, and I harp on it so much that, like, in my head, I'm just trying to make sure that not only she's doing it right just for the sake of exercise, but so that she gets the actual benefits of each of the exercises we're doing, because we have varied workouts from day to day. And, they're custom and tailored in order to, work on the different parts of our body that we need need help with. So I'm crazy anal about it, but I am such a fucking asshole about it that sometimes it turns into like her fucking crying or leaving the room because I'm harping too hard. And I don't realize that I'm doing it until something extreme like that happens.
God, you're a dick.
I know. It's fucking crazy because really all it should be is, well, you know what? We're just going to be doing a little strength training. You're going to jump on the treadmill and start running. And then I'm just going to finish out the strength training of this entire night. So I should, she, no matter what, she's going through the motions. She doesn't want to do any of this, I might add. I'm like, if I didn't force her to work out, and it's not like I forced her to like bend her arm, but I'm just like, hey, it's time to work out. We must exercise now.
But I have a pint of ice cream and Oprah's on.
Yeah. I'm just like, no, this is not acceptable. You will work out with me Well, here's the thing. I understand loving someone for who they are and forsaking all flaws, but I don't do that. I'm probably impossible to live with, and I don't know why my wife has for so long. But like when we first got married, one of the first things that I said to her was, if you ever weigh more than me, we will get a divorce. Like, it's super shallow, it's super shitty.
No,
but
it isn't. No, it isn't. Don't you fucking apologize. Don't you dare apologize for that shit. Love and fucking are two different things. No, you gotta like something you're fucking. When I see like a man who's obviously taking care of himself and a woman who's let go of herself, or vice versa, which is usually the case, where a woman has not let herself go but a man has, I look at her like, what the fuck is bro? Why are you? I love him. He's my husband. So you can love somebody and have sex with someone else. I do it all the time.
Nice.
No.
Well, then you're the perfect person to talk to about this.
Because I'm going to make you feel really good about being a shallow son of a bitch. You are a monogamous man who's been with the same woman for what, like almost 20 years?
Getting close.
Yeah. No, so good fucking job, woman. Get on the treadmill, because I like fucking you. I like this marriage, and I want to make sure it remains that way. And I will do the same. I will make sure you come and that I look good naked for you. And
that really what it is, exactly what it comes down to. Like, I want to make sure that I look good naked for myself, which is one of the major reasons. But I also want to make sure that when I get naked, it's enough, and my behavior with her is enough to turn her on, not just me. You know what I mean? Because it's when I look at sex, and it's very much not I'm trying to get my own. It's me trying to play off of her. I get off when she wants me more. Like when she is turned on, that turns me on even more. And so it's so much better than just, hey, we're drunk, suck my dick. I mean, that's not really that great for me. I want her to be involved in it. And this is one way that I help, hopefully help make her involved. And I expect the same back. And she's wonderful about it. And she's been doing it every single day that I do it, which, to be fair, is close to 4 times a week instead of the 5 times that's our goal. But it's like, the motion of doing it is great. The benefits of doing it is great. I feel fucking amazing after I exercise, but it's that time that I'm doing it. You have like an hour, or for us, it's like an hour of, well, Adam's going to be an asshole. and just, there's nothing you can do about it. Like he knows he's being an asshole. He's trying not to be, but he can't help it. It's just fucking torture. And to make it worse, like some of the exercises we do together, because I want to make sure that she is doing exactly what I need her to do in order to get the biggest benefit. And here's the other thing. I'm not saying this because I'm some trainer that I know. I just spent 5 years in the military. Before that, I weight trained as throughout all of high school. And afterward, I've just been in exercise. It's just something that I do. So I'm not like trying to build her into something that she's inherently not. It's just trying to, make sure everything stays where it should be and doesn't drip and droop where it shouldn't be. I don't know. I think, do you ever find yourself in that situation, Aden, where you're behaving poorly, but you just can't pull yourself out of it?
Yeah. I kind of learned to embrace it.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, I as some of my friends love to tell me, I am the biggest asshole. I'm a dick. Like my honesty is more like a torpedo missile,
Yeah.
But
that's exactly what I mean.
But I'm just I can't help it. When I was a kid, I was a nice guy. It didn't get me anywhere. Now it's just now I'm a dick. It's the only way to go.
Well, and I mean, all it's really saying is we know what we want, and we're going to tell you what we want and what we expect. And like to us, I'm sort of speaking for you here. For me, it's me being as honest as I can possibly be, and I think that's a good thing. Other people, they find it a little too aggressive, and so they, sort of get a little butthurt about it. And it's only when I see how my honesty and directness is reflected in, for example, in the exercise example, my wife's eyes, that I start to feel fucking bad. I'm like, well, fuck, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I just want to make sure everything is done properly. Like, it's the OCD in me or something.
Well, I don't think it's more about what you're saying than it is your tone.
Yeah.
Where's it going with that? I mean, you're a top of the clock man. You're naturally aggressive anyway.
Yeah.
Well, God, he's like Hitler over here. It's like, no, do it now. Yes.
No, that's exactly how it is. I'm just like, if you're not gonna fucking do it right, why are you doing it at all?
Buddy Sean, I won't work out with him anymore.
Oh, really?
You're like my buddy Sean when it comes to working out. I won't work out with him anymore because of it. He's a total gym rat, and like he's an amazing body. But I look at him like, no, I'm not gonna work out with you anymore because you're a raging dick. He's like, yeah, but don't you want the best possible results? No. I don't want to look like you. I just want to stay thin and get, tone up a little bit. You're like ridiculous. But I don't know. After I'm done working out, I tend to get aggressive. I think that's where the topping came from.
Oh, really?
Well, I started putting on muscle, and muscle and testosterone levels are connected. So now I just want to fuck the hell out of shit instead of have the fuck hell shit out of something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
I can't be poetic with this. It ain't working.
No, I dig it.
Play with your tone, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm going to have to do. Is just I never notice it until it's reflected, and so whether it's recorded or whether it's I see her reaction to it. Obviously I love her and I don't want to hurt her feelings, but I do want to make sure that we're on the same page with this kind of thing. So I don't know, just wanted to chat a little bit about it and see your opinion and stuff.
What I'm about to say isn't necessarily a reflection of your wife, but of people in general. People are so used to placating and pussyfooting and whatnot, that when they meet someone who's direct and fairly blunt, especially when they're more aggressive in their life, they're just like, oh my God, he's so mean. He's gonna hurt my feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess that just kind of carries on everywhere for people like you. Me to an extent, but I'm not as top of the clock as you are. So
nice. No, I'm sounding like a total asshole. I'm not that mean, people, I swear. All right. Well, speaking of like testosterone and interacting with other people, you actually put out this idea a long time ago, and I don't even know if you really want to bring it up at this point, but it sort of plays into this whole idea. We were going to be doing a Satanic Warlock episode.
Yes.
So is this something we're still on for?
I'm so in, and I call Shotgun a Satanic Warlock book. It's mine. I'm going to do it. No one else can do it. I'm putting it out there publicly first. It's mine.
All right. A den is called dibs on the Satanic Warlock.
Yes, dibs.
Hell yeah. So that's going to be number 2 that you've released, or you will release.
Oh, book-wise? Yeah, sure. Why
not? Yeah, whatever. It's coming.
It'll come. Yeah, I'm 26. Come on. Everybody calm down, okay?
You got a few years before you have to start sweating.
I'm already getting emails like, what's next up? Hold on a minute. I'm not done with this.
Damn, I haven't got my first out.
Yeah, calm your ass.
Well, and I bring it up because after the Satanic Witch episode I did, I think maybe a full year ago with Aaron and Jesse, I got a lot of feedback from guys saying, I want to make sure I want to hear something. So it was just perfect that you mentioned that you would want to, put this together and be a part of it, and just letting the audience know that we don't just sit here and run this podcast, just to masturbate into a microphone. I mean, we do that too, but it's actually kind of a bitch to clean out. But it's sort of like when it gets wet, it gets like gelatinous, and you have to get like toothpicks out of each little. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I have a budget for my microphones.
But we like to think of ways that we can not only contribute to the greater satanic conversation, as it were, but also enlighten the audience as much as we are capable of enlightening, and not meaning like we're somehow superior, but just that everyone has different perspectives on things, and sometimes hearing a different perspective, it's a good thing. So this is one of those episodes that has spawned because of that, because we think that collectively the gentlemen of 9sense have something to offer in this avenue, and if not, it's just another podcast for fun. So look forward to that. But it is something that I also wanted to bring up because, we do stuff like Greater Magic episodes. We do sort of horrific holiday specials, and every once in a while we just do a random episode. Like the one coming up, the Church of Satan Year 50 episode that I'm going to be doing with Magus Gilmore. So I want to reach out to you, the audience, and get your opinion. What would you like to hear from us? What have we either not covered enough for you or not at all that you would like to hear? So shoot us your questions or your ideas or topics to any of the contributors to 9sense, or you can just send it to info@9sensepodcast.com. We really do like hearing from you, and we like to know what you want to hear. We're doing this mainly for you. We're actually not getting much out of it ourselves. So it's nice to hear back and make sure that we're giving you what you're expecting and what you want to hear. And sort of tying into that, every week when the episode is released, I put out show notes, kind of the main segments that are covered on that episode. Well, I have an entire archive of this on 9sensepodcast.com. So if you go to the homepage and you go into that search field and you type in any topic that has to do with Satanism and maybe even not Satanism, well, chances are we've probably touched on it before in some manner. So there's a ton of information that is free and existing that you can find on the website, 9sensepodcast.com. All show notes are there from the very first episode. So go check it out when you have a second, and who knows, maybe you'll uncover something that may shine a little light on a thought you may have had before or never thought of ever before, for that case. All right, so that's going to do it for the pre-show here. You want to dive into some Devil's Advocate, man?
Sure.
All right, let's do it.
In nomine de nostris Satanus Luciferi Excelsior. In the name of Satan, the ruler of the earth, the king. Though I am an active member, I do not speak for the Church of Satan.
What is satanic? Ready now!
Not that. That's for sure. With Vay's rolling in his grave every time he makes that sound.
Satan! Well, okay, here's a good place to start this discussion again, I think. What is commonly seen as satanic is not defined by Satanists. I think that's an interesting idea. It's like an accusation. It's not an expression of self, That's satanic. Well, no, Slayer is actually not satanic.
No, is that the singer a Christian?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know. A lot of the metal bands in the 80s and before and after used the imagery because it was racy and it drew in an audience. Mm-hmm. But the reality is that they had nothing to do with Satan. And so I wanted to ask you, Aden, obviously we planned this stuff out. I know you're going to be on this show. What is satanic to you? And it doesn't have to be just music or anything, but just, what does it mean to be satanic to you? Like the idea of something satanic.
My black satin pajamas.
Ooh.
It's such
I want to feel that. That sounded soft and silky.
Oh my God, yeah, but make sure you wear underwear with them or you can get a UTI. But anyway, the point is... I never liked that question because I always thought it was dependent on the person you were asking. Mm-hmm. You get the general answers like LaVey would say Al Jolson is satanic, necessarily satanic because of form and something that satisfies objective standards of quality. I'm like, all right, good, broad standards. But Darren would call the blues satanic. I would call I'm not even going to admit that. That's just terrible.
Oh, what?
The person I'm going to go see in concert tomorrow is satanic.
Oh, right.
It's like an open-ended question that you can fill with almost any of your tastes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean that is like straight on point. I think is because there isn't a universal truth about it, because that would be anti-satanic in and of itself. If we look at Satanism and understand that every Satanist is an abject individual that does not and probably will not agree with the next Satanist in line, because they wouldn't even be in line. It's absurd to think that there is this universal truth of this is satanic. I mean, Satanism is codified, but that's as far as it goes. I mean, other than that, it's very much left to the individual, just like personal aesthetics. And if you dress the way you do when you're a Satanist, then however you dressed is inherently satanic. And if we look at it like that, I think it can add a little bit of clarity why some people would completely think the blues has nothing to do with Satan, but then others would think that it has absolutely everything to do with Satan. It is inherently satanic for some. So I mean, just to what you're speaking to, in the individual aspect of it is the most important. Are there things out there that you can think of that a lot of different Satanists would agree are satanic?
Well, I was gonna say that it's funny when you get a bunch of us together and we all start talking about what we like, and the commonalities are just it seems to be to kind of repeat myself and put it kind of vaguely, it's an appreciation for quality. Someone who or something that shows skill, that shows study, that's when it comes to music or art in general, something that's that evokes a response in you, not just some pop music that makes you move your hips, but that's tough for me. It really is tough for me to answer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. For me, it's challenging because I've been in positions to what you're speaking to, where you're around a number of other Satanists, and you have specific artists or specific movies or themes or aesthetics that some of you are really attracted to. And I guess what it comes down to is, for me anyway, because one or two people agree that they like something, and for them that something internalized is satanic, does that mean that it's satanic for other people, or that it should be? And for me, and let me jump in really quick, I don't think so. There can be no projected satanic element of anything. It has to be something that you feel. Otherwise, it's not true. Otherwise, if you're not connecting with it, how could it possibly be satanic? So then, to carry that forward, unless you're connecting with something intimately, whether it's emotional or physical, can something actually be satanic?
Objectively?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. In Satanism, there's a kind of a basic aesthetic to it that and if it's a partly aesthetic philosophy, it requires that there is an objective standard of taste. There's an argument for what kind of taste is appropriate for people like us, but it's kind of a non-argument because we naturally fall into that anyway. Like Peter says, where the Adams is, or what I told my ex-boyfriend is, you're the Munsters, I'm the Adams family. You're Leave It to Beaver all dressed up in goth. I'm truly weird.
I never thought of the difference between the two shows like that. That's interesting.
Oh, I know. Even though both shows were fantastic, but come on, the monsters were Leave It to Be. Actually, that's a great way to put it. The Addams Family would be objectively satanic, and then you get things that are just spooky with satanic symbols and whatnot, and that would be the monsters.
Yeah.
Look at that. I'm smarter than what I think.
Not just a hat rack up there. Genuine. Okay, so there is something I wanted to read. This was actually brought up by a wonderful gentleman. I never got approval to say his name, so I'm not going to. But it's actually from the collection Satan Speaks, from the essay The Horns of a Dilemma. And it starts out, this is sort of nearing the end of the essay here. Anton LaVey wrote, as a result, once others say, well, that's not real Satanism. You're not real Satanists. You're just religious Satanists. The real Satanists are out killing babies and sacrificing cats. That's our cue to start knocking heads. We have to be prepared to say, God damn it, you rotten sons of bitches. Don't tell me what Satanism is. I'm a real Satanist and proud of it. You're trying to tell me Rudy Valet isn't satanic music when I like Rudy Valet? And then proceed to smash a chair over their head or nose, and they'll listen. That's the only way anyone who is still trying to make money off anti-satanic swill will listen when we stop defending ourselves and start being offensive. That's why the ideal type of frontline warrior for our present cabal, for our new world view, must be that strange combination of berserker and poet. He must have the ultimate sense of justice, lex talionis, indelibly bred into him. While also possessing the articulation, the convictions, the ideals, and the awareness of what must be done. These two elements of force and direction must be inseparable, of warfare and intellect. And he's speaking to the idea that because what is satanic is defined by so many other people and not us, people are confused. People don't understand. So it's just this simple idea that if you claim a title to yourself, but no one understands what that title is, no one understands what you really mean and what you really are. And you can argue that the entire satanic panic is a direct result of that. It is incumbent upon us to have passion about Satanism and what we find satanic and not let others define it, and certainly not other Satanists. I've said this a number of times. I'm a big gospel fan. One of my favorite, absolute favorite tunes on the bagpipe is Amazing Grace. I absolutely adore it. And I don't like it because of a message or a connection with some Christian who wrote it originally. I like it because of the emotion it evokes within me. There's absolutely nothing Christian about who and what I am. There's something absolutely at my core satanic. And so for me, hearing that tune on the bagpipes is 100% satanic. And I cannot apologize for it, and I would never try to, because it does something in me. It stirs something in me.
Oh, of course. Some of the most beautiful music ever written was written for Catholic sermons. It's
Mozart's Requiem, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of classical pieces were written for worship, and it's just when I hear frauds or newbies say, well, how can you I love like Odeta's spirituals and old Negro spirituals, and I love gospel music also because it's moving, and me and a few friends go back and forth about this. Anything that moves me, that hits me emotionally, is the kind of music I listen to. Whether that be something as stupid as a Katy Perry song or someone like Odeta, doesn't matter to me. It hits me. It does it. Therefore, it's satanic because it's moving. Oh, I like that. Yeah. But I always thought this Horns of a Dilemma was kind of building on LaVey's statement. The Church of Satan is like custard that can't be nailed to the wall.
Yeah.
Where we're there to we exploit what a seemingly what seems to be a contradiction. A Satanist could not like gospel, or a Satanist couldn't find a Catholic church beautiful, or like one of my favorite men to work with is a devout born again Christian. He's pretty much the only guy I like at work. Mm-hmm. And then when people try to, well, no, a Satanist couldn't do that, then you can get kind of pissed off about it. Well, why the fuck can't I do it? Don't you tell me what to do. Let me tell you what it is.
I think a lot of when it comes down to asking a question like, what is satanic? There's an implication that not only as we've spoken to, that there could possibly be some universal truth, which is not, but also that there's a lot of judging going on. Like, if you find that satanic and I don't, I'm judging you at this point. Do you think that that's a bad thing, Eden?
Well, the fact that they're judging, no. The standard that they're using, I'd raise an eyebrow and kind of snicker. And oh yeah, there's a few people who said, oh, you like Marilyn Manson, that's so typical. I'm like, no, I don't just like him. I fucking love Marilyn Manson. You can ask anybody who lives in my building. It's pretty much his new album I've been playing on a loop for a month. And like, oh yeah, that's so typical, therefore, it's not very satanic. Like, what, are you kidding me? I like it. It's moving. The lyrics are well written. The music is beautiful, or can be. Kiss my ass. No, and they'll use it like that. It's like a false judgment. And it's not the same kind of judgment where a beer snob would say, oh yeah, look, you're drinking Budweiser. It's more like you're drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon, therefore you're a hipster. Yeah. Or you're wearing off the rack.
Gasp.
That's not Gucci underwear. It's like, it's like that.
It's stunning because, on one hand, it's you judging them. On the other hand, it's you trying to measure up to them. Excuse me. I mean, part of this, I think, is you're trying to get a sense of whether or not you're doing something right. Like, I don't know anyone who would ask another Satanist if this thing is satanic or if that thing is satanic, unless there's something within themselves they feel like they're not measuring up to. Like, they feel like they have to connect in some way with what someone else likes in order for it to be okay. I think that's a flawed mentality, because what that says at its core is that you're not an individual. You're trying to measure up to some satanic yardstick. Exactly. And there is no such yardstick. That doesn't exist. You don't have to measure up to any other Satanist. So when you run into these people, like, anyone who argues about you liking something that's not satanic or not satanic enough or could never be satanic is a lot more about them being just not confident in themselves. Trying to put themselves in a position of authority over you, or trying to do something, whatever it is, that in and of itself is not satanic. So it's this irony that they're the ones trying to convince you of something, but really they're just telling you what they are, and that is shallow, hollow, and not quite up to par.
And to be clear,
my opinion.
You can always judge someone by their taste. When someone, when a guy I go on a date with says, he likes Rihanna, Lady Gaga, Britney Spears, and other top 40 typical gay shit, I look at him with a raised eyebrow like, oh no. Oh. Now, yes, I will admit, sometimes when I'm drunk, I'll put on a Britney Spears album and dance around like a little fairy. It happens. And I like Cher. I fucking like Cher. I'll goddamn say it all day. I love Cher. That's my bitch, okay? You look at my playlist, there's Cher, Britney Spears, Marilyn Manson, Elton John, and, Cannibal Corpse. It's all there. Anyway, but...
That's a hell of a night.
Oh, I'm all over the place when it comes to my taste. I think that's kind of an unspoken thing about Satanists, is a lot of their tastes are seemingly contradictory. But, but of course you can judge someone by their taste, but it's a subjective standard. Unlike, when you ask the question, what is satanic, you're trying to apply, you're being solipsistic. I like it, It's satanic, but you don't agree with me, therefore you're not as satanic as me. And you're right, it's a false measuring stick, one that doesn't exist. The only one that does exist is adherence to the principles and follow through. You name what you want, are you going after it? And are you using the principles to get to it? You know, it's a method. Satanism is more like a method. It's you're applying, you're being solipsistic. You're applying your subjective values to and trying to create an objective standard out of them, and it's ridiculous and very unsatanic.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. It's interesting and it's shocking how often it comes up, which is why I wanted to talk about it now, I guess. But
unfortunately, sometimes it does.
Yeah, that's okay. Hey, how about we do a little Agent Provocateur?
Ooh. Okay.
Ever wonder why genies are trapped in bottles? Because they're a bunch of goddamn drunks. And like all drunks, they'll talk to anyone who will listen until somebody puts a cork back in the bottle. So, want a little drunken genie nonsense? Then grab a bottle of whiskey and rub one out. Or tune into 9sense the first week of every month and catch my segment, I Dream of Jesse.
I am not a liberal nor a conservative. I am not a Democrat nor a Republican. I am not a socialist nor a capitalist. I am not an authoritarian, and I'm definitely not fighting for your cause. I belong to no party, I support no politicians, I am loyal to no state, and your cause célèbre means nothing to me. I am Darren Deicide, Agent Provocateur.
Hello, folks, and welcome to Agent Provocateur. This is before the hiatus at the Crossroads of Civilizations. You may have noticed something in the title of this episode. Indeed, I'm going away for a little while. Not the way crazy Aunt Lucy goes away, but I have to take a little hiatus from Agent Provocateur. Music is calling me. February 7th, I will begin premiering a series of live videos called Back from the Dead, the Harsma Sessions. I had the unique privilege of performing 3 songs in the historic Harsma Cemetery here in Jersey City, a 6-acre cemetery that has many interesting historical figures buried there, as well as an amazing history of its own. Also, at the beginning of March, I have been booked to perform at Stand Up Fest, a festival in Indiana. This will launch a week-long tour through the Midwest, including dates in Chicago and St. Louis. Needless to say, I will be traveling constantly, and that life is not conducive to paying attention to the touchstone issues of the world, let alone doing a podcast about them. So, you must drudge on without my sarcasm about the human species. I think you can do it. Before I leave, though, I want to give a last piece of commentary about the human zeitgeist as it stands. This is a bit of my farewell address before the hiatus. Also, I've made a pretty good podcasting career being a contrarian so far. It's served me well. But underlying any contrarian must be principles. And as I've been sitting here doing case studies or randomly jacking off in your ear, at no point have I articulated my principled stance. There are a couple of reasons for that. I take seriously the idea of keeping opinions to myself. Believe me, it's an act of true self-control for me. The amount of times I want to smack someone in the teeth for spewing some stupidity, let alone keeping my opinions to myself, is probably about 20 times more recurrent than the amount of times someone impresses me with their knowledge and insight. So I don't mind laying more cards out today before I go on my spirit quest. I find societies interesting. More than anything else, what fascinates me are the manners in which they are similar and the ways they are not. You see, the hard sciences exist for a purpose. Physics, genetics, biology, all of these exist to unravel the initial state of nature. What are the laws of gravity? What is the inborn genetic code of an individual? These are the questions the hard sciences look at and does so through controlled experiments. We now know, partially thanks to the work of these hard scientists, that the human brain is neuroplastic and malleable. It is not a static organ, and therefore, neither is the individual. If you take a child and raise it in China, regardless of its racial or genetic code, it will speak fluent Chinese, adopt Chinese aesthetic judgments, Chinese norms, and so on. So, what are the factors that steer an individual in this direction or that? That is the task of the soft sciences or social sciences. Since controlled experiments are impossible unless we lock people up into strange situations and fuck with them, a proposition I might be okay with, what we're left with are case studies in history that provide us with paired examples. The pairing of examples allows us to delineate the variables responsible for the genetic code to unravel in the manner in which it does. I think it's an incontrovertible truth at this point, thanks to an overwhelming body of evidence in history. There is no other factor influencing paradigms of thinking more than the flow of capital. It places constraints on all media and systems of thought to a degree that calculated, rational thinking is often thrown right out the window. And it does this through the selection and emphasis of facts. In that sense, all mass media is biased and represents the interests and points of view of those who are attempting to control the flow of capital. And it comes in many different forms that build narratives. Recent events between the Western and Eastern hemisphere of human society are creating a new narrative. One would think we are at the precipice of a great war between civilizations. On one side is the secular world, protecting its system of Enlightenment-era values. On the other side is the Muslim world, protecting its own system of Sharia-based values. When people are killed on the Western side, the media underlines it to no end and quickly categorizes it as an act of terrorism. I wish I had a dime for every time the word terror is used in mainstream media. I would have a hell of a lot of dimes, enough to have free metered parking for the rest of my life. On the other side, clerics and would-be sheiks of Umans inundate a hopeless people caught in a daily crossfire with promises of salvation if they would take up arms in the cause against a society devoid of morals and decency. Societies disintegrated into chaos by aggressive rogue states find solace in religious pinings. This is nothing new. You see, I think most people think of religion as Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, and that's it. If it doesn't have a snazzy name and some grand poobah, it's not a religion. But let me posit this. Religion is more than that. Religion is a faith-based way of looking at the world. It is the opposite of science and rationality. At its crux is the denial of life and the self in favor of myth and self-abdication. The mind state it induces isn't dissimilar from many forms of totalitarian thinking. You see it often in dictatorial or monarchistic styles of government, where leaders are revered in very religious ways. Just look at the cult of personalities you see in communist governments, whether it's Lenin's mummified corpse in a glass case or the Liberace styles of Kim Jong-il. Leaders are enshrined on a level that makes Jesus look like a pathetic loser. Some of the most ardent religions aren't theistic, and some of the most zealous systems of faith come from states. And within these religious systems of thinking, including state religions, you have fundamentalist and secular ends. Looking at history, I am convinced that there is nothing innate to the religious system that would steer it towards either end other than the conditions of its adherents at that time. Fundamentalism becomes prevalent when the social order breaks down and infrastructure dissolves. At this point, religion then serves as a way of structuring society informally. The early colonists in America resorted to lynching, stake burnings, and all sorts of macabre executions when they were dying like flies from disease, starvation, and Indian massacres, despite their preenings towards classic liberal idealism. Secular Islam has existed for decades, and secular Muslim states thrived prior to recent imperial aggressions. But when economic interests come to a collision, everything is done by religion to convince people that they must die for their cause. Media and propaganda gear itself to convince the population that they must sacrifice their own lives, resort to criminal action, and line up behind their cause. For those a little slower on the skepticism uptake, throwing themselves off the cliff becomes an easy matter, especially if life itself has been shown to be worthless. Well, I am here to slay all religions, state or otherwise. And that is why I am here to tell you that the prevailing ideas on the war are a lie. There is no war between civilizations. Both are guilty of the crimes they are accusing each other of. It's a war of hypocrites, like all wars, and the evidence is conclusive. People are being deluded by a mass media interested in doing whatever is possible to ensure that the burden of proof is never put on war planners, religious leaders, and state managers whose point and purpose is to keep coffers full for special interests. If you're obedient to them, you are being duped into their herd. If you die for them, you're dying for empty ideals that keep their wallets stuffed. My podcast and my newswire are here to give you the tools you might need to build an independent mind and opt out of the game. And I do this by completing the other half of the story your media doesn't want you to hear. It's a story that may be painful for some to hear. Challenging favorite truisms and the lies people tell themselves doesn't make you a popular guy. But nobody said being a Satan would make you a friend to all. Ladies and gentlemen, this Agent Provocateur is checking out for now, and will return in April. I will continue to be a watchdog, and the newswire will continue where I can continue it. Join it at facebook.com/Agent Provocateur on 9sense, with the number 9 in it. Keep the world spicy, my listeners, and never let your fire for Luciferian rebellion die. This has been Darren Deicide, checking out just for now.
The top-hated and the low-browed, with a scarlet passion and valid gospel, I say to you, thou in sick style of remoted altars, be not of love, but of lust, and to one a belly full is a belly full. Expand your genital rebellion to vindicate the shrew. Let thy brothel be revelation, then thy moans are divine wisdom. There's no salvation in the whore's religion. Our dogma is their kink. With legs spread, with flesh mounted, we point out to our accusers, a slut alone is no slut at all. This I say to you, my fellow eroticists, my hands-on warriors. It doesn't matter who bends over. In the end, we are all degraded.
Welcome to Militant Eroticism, episode 20. The most generous person in the world is the slut. I am Aden Arden. The slut is the most generous person in the world. They have the ability to arouse far more sensation than your own body could produce, and for free! Sure, they may be getting something in return, if you're any good, that is, but they offer it without any hesitation. With this in mind, the slut should be an icon in the spiritual world. It is no wonder why the most devoted Christians are usually the most promiscuous. I mean, generosity is a virtue, sometimes confused with their own desires. They are imitating the God-given role that the mother and father of all human beings were charged with, to be fruitful and multiply. It just so happens that now, instead of multiplying our species, though most of them are, they're multiplying the good nature that comes with a good orgasm. We, of course, all know that sluts, for practice makes perfect in most cases, are astounding in bed. They are always picked for conversation in a social gathering, though just about everyone will deny that this is the reason. They are always charming, polite, and fair, for it is in their nature to be giving. They make the men gods to other men, and the women feel better about themselves for being so classy. Classy usually translating to a synonym for boring. Of course, classy and gods can also be exchanged depending on the gender and their orientation. Though I would never call a lesbian a god. They're always bad people. But anyway, the slut is also always the best looking. Always making sure that they are in the top echelon of aesthetics in the places that they grace. It may not be the top fashion, but goddamn if they're not the best looking or at least the most alluring of all the other people. They take great pleasure in offering up eye candy and wish to please others via their presentation, much like the painter wishing to move his audience. The old adage, no good deed goes unpunished, also fits very well with the slut. Always mocked and ridiculed, they have had a scarlet A indented on their forehead and arm, generously giving their most intimate embrace and are alienated for it. They are truly the meek and always the downtrodden. I'm sure they have the best looking crowns in heaven. In the Old Testament days, they were stoned to death. They're true martyrs. Also, it would be very well to note that the slut is very ego strong. No matter how much they are beaten down, they go on with their natural mission, to please anyone that offers or that they accept into their loins. Truly courageous people to face adversity every day. With every breath they proclaim, "You will not get me down, I will do who I wish." The slut truly is the most generous person in the world. They never stop giving. They give the most intimate parts of themselves. They give their energy, their passion, their lust and love. They share secrets of their bedroom desires, and they never stop. They never stop offering themselves up to the rest of the world. With their motto planted firmly upon their lips since the day God sent them down from heaven, "Take what you wish. I exist to give and to be given." So, as always, keep your skirts up, your pants down, and no matter who bends over, love your slut.
I never thought of a slut like that before.
I know, right? I think I wrote this when I was 16.
Holy shit. Are you a generous person?
Oh, God, no. I'm a Satanist.
Oh, okay. So do you think this hold on, this inspires some question here. The true saints of our times.
Seriously.
Wait a second. Now this is making me start to think of Mother Teresa in a completely different way.
Oh God, that's the only reason why that woman looks so terrible at the end of her life. That's enough to go through. They look like hell by the time they go in the ground. I mean, they've even sacrificed their youth and their beauty so other people could enjoy it. Oh, I'm moved. Aren't you moved by this?
Oh, something's stirring down under.
You're a married man, sir. You're not allowed to think that way anymore.
I got a thing for nuns. I will never stop thinking.
Do you have a thing for nuns?
What's that? Do
you have a thing for nuns?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it was Psycho through 2 or 3, where there was the story revolved around a nun getting killed. I can't remember which one. Maybe 3. But, yeah, that was what did it for me, man. As soon as I saw that nun get murdered, something stirred.
Really?
I'm a twisted person.
Hey, man,
I love this idea.
Horror porn, so you know.
What's that?
I jack off to horror porn, so I can't judge you too harshly.
Yeah, seriously. I really like this. It's taking a common idea that people find. For whatever crazy reason, they find it being a negative, and especially when someone's calling them a slut, and then it's turning it on its heel and saying, "Whoa, wait a second, you're doing something greater for mankind than they ever could. You're giving of yourself in the only ways that you can, or maybe in the best of ways that you can, just for them, for the sake of their pleasure. Of course, you're going to be getting something out of it, hopefully, but you never know. You just never know. Some people don't know what they're doing. That was a great one, man. I like that. I'm going to have to listen to that a couple times and have a little fun thinking about it. That was great. Where can good folks listening find a little bit more about you online?
To know anything about the segment or the upcoming book, just go to the Militant Eroticism Facebook page and hit the like button, and you can always email me. I'm active in those emails. I respond all the time. It may take me a little bit, but I do it. So even suggested topics, because Well, no,
Yeah,
I'm not
just
running out of ideas, but you know.
Just like I mentioned at the top, it's always nice to know what other people would like to hear too.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes I don't think of something as interesting, but other people do, and I keep forgetting that other people are there. So
yeah, it's not just you and me. Well, thank you very much for that. I do highly recommend that everyone go check out Militant Eroticism on Facebook. Eden posts a lot of news articles that, and just sort of, research that backs up some of the segments that he speaks to. And sometimes it's just random posts that inspire thought and creativity and a little bit of slutty behavior, which, let's be honest, it's giving. It's a good thing.
Sometimes I feel the need to rant, and I can't wait till the end of the month.
Yeah.
And then
do yourselves a favor, check them out online. Well, Dan, I think that's it. I think that's going to do it for another show.
Ooh, God, I just nutted.
All right, well, we would love to hear from you, the audience. We've been mentioning it all episode. We're going to mention it one last time. Visit the website, 9sensepodcast.com, and send your correspondence to info@9sensepodcast.com. Let us know of any suggestions, critiques, corrections, or general comments you might have. You can visit the Satanet, Facebook, Google+, Twitter, and MySpace page for 9 Cents and get updated on weekly topics. Download the show Mondays via the RSS feed found at 9sensepodcast.com. We're also on Last.fm, Stitcher, and YouTube. Look for us there. If you find us somewhere, give us a rating, give us a review, give us a testimonial. We appreciate it all, and it helps the cream rise to the top, which actually has a little bit of a different meaning now that Eden admitted to it's just not like nutting.
Well, no, you started this with the microphone thing, which reminds me. Yeah, I think it's about time you bought me a fucking microphone, okay?
I think you're right. Actually, I think I owe everyone that contributes to this show a microphone.
Especially women. God knows how they put it.
Oh man, everything's being twisted up. Let's see, where were we? I would like to learn if you fuck. Eden, you have me flustered. If you, the audience, would like to learn more about the Church of Satan, visit churchofsatan.com. And remember, the only way we're going to continue having these awkward, paused moments on 9 Cents is if you spread the word. Tell other people about 9 Cents. Help us help you. Help Satan. Yeah. Satan! Anyway, thanks for joining us. And as always, I'm a host, Adam Campbell, being joined by
Dan.
One of a kind man. Looking forward to that book, by the way. And until we can chat again, until we can see you people, until next week, Hail Satan!
Hail Satan.